blood, Tommy Sedner. It's all things sports, plus cop talk, current events, entertainment, and more. Joined by America's favorite Jersey girl, Robin DeLory. It's the King and the Cop. Now, here's Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
You don't win, it's a shame. Yay.
Hello, Tampa. You're listening to the Big 8. It's April 7th, and it is opening day for MLB, and I'm Tommy Sedner, the Cop. Jimmy Leyritz is on his way to Yankee Stadium for tomorrow's opener, and still pinch hitting and in the lineup is Andy Skills with us today, three-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants. And, of course, I see my lovely wife in the studio back in New Jersey with her New York Mets shirt on, which I don't know why. Robin DeLory. Hello, Robin.
I could be asking you the very same thing right now, Tommy.
I've been a Yankee fan my whole life, my dear. I am currently wearing the pinstripes today with my Yankee hat, and to be a little bit funny, Mr. Leyritz, on the back, which I may show later, is the number 4, Lou Gehrig, because right now you are Mr. Wally Pipp. So, how you doing, Andy? This is a big day, I know, in your family. Skills brothers, the three of you, I'm sure you were glued to the TV as kids growing up. It's opening day, man. I love it. You don't have to be a ball player to love opening day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day. It's one of the best days of the year. And I know my brother David, once he got out of the game and started up his family, he's taken both his sons to every opening day out there at Ranger Stadium. So, yeah, it's a big day in the household and the family. So it's good.
Well, we got a lot to go over, and then we're gonna focus on MLB. But there's a lot, you know. We got Tiger, man. Tiger's out there. He's got the heart of a lion. It's unbelievable what he's doing right now. Just walking around, people doubted he would ever play again. And this guy, I have it on in front of me. I'm trying to pay attention to it. I'm sure you've been watching it, Andy. It's incredible. And then the Buffalo Bills, they went all in. They're building a new stadium. They're getting a lot of heat from the taxpayers. So I guess they really doubled down. They gave Mr. Allen, the quarterback, who's an absolute stud, $258 million, $150 million guarantee. So they extended his contract. And, a couple other current news events. We got a new historic Supreme Court justice, and Justice Brown Jackson will be sworn in the near future. She was finally voted in, well-deserved. Comes back from a law enforcement family. Good for her. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. They beat the bejesus out of you now if you're on the other team. To me, she sounds like just a wonderful person and overqualified, if you can make that statement. Everybody, if you go over the history, they can pick on your record, but good for her. Congratulations to the new justice. And on the other end of the spectrum in Washington, D.C., the Speaker of the House, Pelosi, has been diagnosed with COVID, so she came up positive. So I say to you, Ms. Speaker, I hope you feel better, like all of us that have had it, and Godspeed to you. But maybe you could put a little more pressure on the CDC now and somebody give us a damn answer on what the right thing is to do, because I'm still confused why you're vaccinated and boosted and we're still getting this damn disease. But, we're going to also talk about a great story, a cop story today. You know, we like to talk about the King and the Cop, and it's baseball on one end and then a little law enforcement. Yesterday we had a sad story. Today I got a kick out of a story. And we'll talk about a former Kansas City Super Bowl champ. Decided he's hanging up his uniform for another uniform. He's becoming a law enforcement officer. That's pretty cool, man. So he goes from a hero on the field to a hero in his new career, and we'll talk about that. But Andy, let's start with baseball, my man. You know, couple rainouts, Yankees being one of them, which takes the wind out of our sails as a Yankee fan. But who are you looking forward to watching today?
Well, I think Yankees is always kind of the first thing in my mind. I'm interested to see Toronto. I'm interested to see some of the early matchups. The Dodgers. I was just reading today that they're overwhelmingly picked to win it all, but it's a long way to go, and so this starts the dance, and we'll see how things go. But first day you get to see everybody's starters. Their number ones are going, and so it's fun.
Andy, I'm going to throw a fastball to Robin now, and let's see if she can hit it. And we discussed this on an earlier show. I'm so confused. I'm down here in Tampa, and I say this is the blended family world we live in right now. And your ex-husband is a friend of mine and a good guy and a really staunch Met fan. So your two children are Met fans. But when you got divorced, and it was we all have a great relationship. What are you still doing with a Met shirt on? I'm a Yankee fan. I owned the Newark Bears, which were the Yankees' minor league team at once. What's going on here? I mean, Skillsy, can you believe she's wearing a Met jersey still? I don't understand.
I don't get it. You gotta get on the same team.
I know. I thought
I am on the same team. I'm on the same team as my children.
Well, why? They're 18 and 16. My God, Michael could be in this. He should be going to serve in the Army right now. You still got to wear a Met shirt?
Because they're my kids. I'm not going to walk around this house with the Yankee garb on.
You're wearing it Sunday night, I'll tell you that.
You spent like $150 on this beautiful jacket for one picture, the Yankees outfit.
Yeah, well,
I feel like I was betraying them.
Yeah, well, guess what? You're going to betray them again because we're going to the game Sunday night with my daughter, a Yankee fan, even though she's supposedly dating a Red Sox fan, which makes me throw up in my mouth.
Well, I'm going to see your daughter, and I'm going for the food and drink.
And you'll be wearing Yankee gear. It's coming in the mail. It's coming in the mail. But anyway, to everybody, Andy, it's a cool story today. I have a lot of we got a visitor, Andy Skills.
Yeah, she's very beautiful. I want somebody like that in my house to bring me coffee.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on there? I mean,
who is that?
That's Leslie.
Well, she's beautiful.
And who is your significant other? Who is she a fan of?
Huh?
Who is she a fan of? What team?
Yankee fan,
right? Yeah, all right. Yankee Giants could go either way, buddy. I wear Giants stuff.
First time we met and she put on a hat. It was a Yankee hat. I was like, oh, this.
Wow, kismet.
She knows. Winner. She's a winner. She's an absolute winner.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
I think one of the reasons that you fell in love with me so quick is that I didn't conform. I never will. So,
Rob, let me just put this blunt out there to Big Joe from Caffeina. By the way, they have a sale going today, opening day sale, Rob, and you could talk about that in a minute. But Big Joe and all you Met fans, I really do wish you the best of luck. But to be a Met fan, I told my daughter, both my son-in-laws are Met fans. I called this morning. I said, Max, where's your Yankee hat? Put your Yankee hat on. I don't care what your father says. And he's 2 years old, so of course he's going to do what Pop tells him to do. I then called Quinn, whose father is also a Met fan, and I said, baby girl, put your Yankee hat on today. Your father's at work. Don't worry about it. I'll deal with it. I mean, you got to be loyal, Robin. You got to be loyal.
When I was growing up,
the Mets they've lost. They continue to lose. They haven't won a World Series since 1986. Am I going to raise my grandchildren to be Met fans and suffer?
No,
my God.
I will agree with that. When I was growing up, the Yankees, it was that period where they were just dominating. They won every year.
It was Robin, slow down. Well, what do you mean growing up? How old were you in 1996 when the King hit the home run?
No, like old enough to follow like baseball is what I'm saying. I was in high school. Like, I'm just saying, like, when I started either caring or faking that I was caring to, just to appease my boyfriend, because but like, I'm just saying, like, when I remember everybody around here being Yankee fans, and it was easy to be a Yankee fan because I remember everyone saying they're just buying they have the most money and they're just going to buy. And so they just kept winning and winning and winning. And my attitude was, I kind of always have loved the underdog.
All right. That's going to come back and bite Met fans in the ass now because they got the richest owner and they're doing the same thing. They're paying a pitcher $43 million a year. So hold on. Our producer, Matt, what are you saying to me, Matt?
Well, two things. One, the Mets still have the best record on opening day in baseball at 39-13.
Really? I didn't know you get a ring for that. Do you get a
Yeah,
ring
yeah,
for
I
that?
don't
really
Skills,
care.
you get a ring for that?
But second and more importantly, the call you were looking for is on the line.
Put him through. I want to talk to him. Is this the best catcher in the Skills family on the phone, Mark Skills?
Bar none.
Bar none.
Not even close.
All right, so for our listeners, this is a real pleasure. This is our friend Mark Skills, whose brother happens to be Andy Skills. That's our co-host today. And Mark, obviously, is a huge successful lawyer in San Diego County and prosecutor and now in the private sector. But caught for Stanford, caught the great Yankee Mike Mussina, played for the Miami Marlins, and his brother played for the Texas Rangers. And then the co-host here played for the Yankees and Padres, and now had 3 World Series with the Giants. Mark, why don't you tell us who the best athlete out of the 3 brothers, all of you made it, who the best athlete was in the family?
I'm coming down this week, so be careful.
I think by any identifiable metric, that would be yours truly. So,
All right. So
no, you know what's funny is we and there's a third brother who probably looks the best in the uniform among the 3 of us, but had no pop. I don't think he could hit it out of the park if he was standing on second base.
But also a successful lawyer in his own right.
He's done well in that field for sure.
Yeah. So Andy, your brother was just saying how he takes his boys to opening day down in Texas, which is such a cool tradition. And I saw something today that I'll talk about later. But the MLB has this program: wear your favorite hat, wear your team today. And I was in the mall and saw these 3 young kids putting their hats on with their dads. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, But I think about you guys a lot. I know me and my brother Eddie, we couldn't wait for opening day. Robin and her brother never watched opening day, but that's another subject. But how did it feel to be? What did the Skills brothers do growing up? Were you in front of that TV on opening day? Did you eat? Who's your favorite team, Mark? Who was your favorite team growing up?
I grew up a Dodger fan. I mean, so the Yankees killed us in 78, 79, but we got them back in 81.
Right.
So I grew up watching Garvey, Lopes, Russell Say around the infield, and that's who we pulled for. But, you talk about family, and, it's important. And I know my mother, God rest her soul, she used to say Andy had a face made for radio. So the fact that he's finally found, a chance to be on this podcast, I think she would be tickled pink about that.
Well,
yeah. Guess who was Mom's favorite?
Well, Andy, are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah, that's what bothers me about this show. We call it The King and the Cop, and I'm the cop and Jimmy's the king, and I guess he deserves it. Mattingly gave him the name, but I'm the king in my family, too. I'm the oldest. You could just ask my mother. I'm her favorite. That being said, my brother's a ton more successful than I am, and, of course, we have a sister, so she doesn't call in and get mad. But who is David's favorite team growing up? Was it the Dodgers?
Probably the Dodgers, yeah.
Yeah. But when
we grew up in SoCal,
so I remember this, and this is not to call Mark out. I remember when you got called up as a coach with the Giants, and you were in the dugout, and you were at Dodger Stadium, and your brother, this big sap, he couldn't have a dry eye. He was so proud and emotional about it. He wasn't rooting for the Dodgers, and I remember that great picture of out in right field of the whole family. You all went up there, and that had to be a day for you both to share and remember, huh? Big brothers in a Giant uniform, but he's in Dodger Stadium. How'd that feel,
Do you
Mark?
have any sisters?
No, just my youngest brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teasing.
And he's called Mark a sister once in a while, but other than that, what was that day like, Mark?
Greatest day of my baseball career for sure. I think Mark wasn't crying over me. I think they closed the hot dog stand early.
See, that's wrong. That's just dead wrong. I can't believe it.
No, it was a chance to. We didn't tell my mom that I was gonna be in uniform and in the big leagues, and so I kind of bumped into the family picture, and she turned around and she was like, "What?"
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the whole family there, close friends. It was an unbelievable day.
Send in a picture of that. I want to see it. There's no iPhones back then, probably, so you couldn't video it.
No, we had pictures.
No,
this didn't happen in the 20s, Robin.
Yeah, Jesus, Rob. This didn't happen when you were growing up in the 90s.
I'm just saying. Okay.
But no, it was a phenomenal day. You know, one that obviously I'll always remember. You know, and that was the first series that the Dodgers had lost at home in 2 years. So it was, you know, it was great to be a part of that, but really the opportunity to share it with my whole family, who, you know, always pulled for me my whole career. So it was a really great day.
You know, I know this. Mark is one of the, and I say this, he's the definition of the nicest guy in the world. I've always said that. It's an overused term, but he is. But he left San Diego. Great. He was a great prosecutor, and I asked him to be our GM with the Newark Bears, and he was my partner with the Newark Bears. And Mark, and he had 21 major league guys on our team. He was by far the best GM that the Atlantic League ever seen. But Mark, I remember opening day where the local New York stations were carrying it live, and like Andy breaks your chops, I'm your East Coast brother. And there's Mark, typical Mark, doesn't care that he's the GM. He's doing all the work, and it was a rainy day, and he's raking. And I'm saying, bro, we're going on live 5 minutes from now. She's interviewing us live on the morning show. So when he came over finally to me, I said to the girl, I said, this is my groundskeeper, Mark Skeels. You know, he never forgave me for that. But, Mark, you love the game just as much as your brother. And at a certain point, you gave it up and have a successful law career. On days like this, do you think back to where you were on opening day when you had that uniform on?
Yeah, I mean, it never goes out of our system. I mean, you hear the quote, you know, I had to play the game for free, but it's true. I mean, it's what we love to do. It's what we did as kids, playing wiffle ball. You know, I was a switch hitter, and where that came from was when we'd play out in the backyard, you take a team, and I used to like the Red Sox. So whenever I was Jerry Remy or Fred Lynn or Carly Yastrzemski, and I'm hitting left-handed, or if I'm, you know, Jim Rice or Butch Hobson, the rest, I'm hitting right-handed. I mean, the roots of, you know, my switch hitting were from playing wiffle ball as a kid with Andy. And we lived in a town, Thousand Oaks, where the local Little League field was within walking distance of our house. So, you know, we were latchkey kids, never locked the door, but we were at the field, you know, every day till it got dark. And just love the game. I mean, just absolutely love the game.
I remember you both telling me your neighbor was a major league, went on to play in the major leagues, right? Kurt Stillwell?
Yeah.
So you guys had some, and who was it? Kurt Russell. Didn't he go to the same high school as you guys? And he was a hell of a baseball player, wasn't he, back in the day?
Yeah, Lancer, Thousand Oaks Lancer graduate. He actually hit over 300 in Double-A.
Right.
And broke his leg like near the end of the year, and Disney came calling, and you know, it was a pretty easy decision. But Kurt was a phenomenal player, and also his father, Bing Russell, who was a movie actor and was also an owner of the Portland baseball team.
Portland Beavers?
He bought them right after the Beavers left.
Okay.
And so they were an independent team. And there's a great documentary about that season. It's called The Battered Bastards of Baseball.
Wow.
You can get it on Netflix or wherever, but it's a phenomenal documentary, and it talks about that season. And Kurt actually, quote unquote, came out of retirement and played a game.
Skills. Wasn't either one of you may know this? Wasn't Matt Franco his nephew who had a cup of coffee with the Mets?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I talked to Matty last week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good genes in that family. Well, listen, we're going to be going to break in about a minute and a half. Mark, my brother, I know you helped me on the legal end. I thought it was going to be a little fun today that you call in and pick on Big Brother. I know that you were the best athlete in the family, no doubt about that. But right now he's got the mic for another hour and a half, so he's going to keep his chest puffed out. But
Yeah.
You know.
No, truth be told, I was probably the worst of the three in terms of athletic ability, but we just made up for it in heart and grit, and just love playing, just trying to be smarter than the other players we work with, and but I love the game. I mean, I miss it. I wish I'd give anything to be 12 years old again and playing a Little League game. So
yeah.
But anyways.
Amen to that, brother. We'll miss you, pal. Stay safe out there in San Diego. I know you're doing tremendous things, and obviously I'm going to have you on more than more than a couple times a month because there's so much crime and so much nonsense going on there. So I love your expertise there. Mark Skeels, everybody. Andy Skeels' brother. You're listening to the Big 8 Radio, 727-518-0820. Andy Skeels, New York Giants, 3-time World Series champion, is pinch hitting for Mr. Leyritz, who will be back on Monday, the King. And Robin DeLory. We'll talk to you after the break on the Big 8. Welcome back to the King and the Cop. I'm Tommy Setner. I can't even pronounce my name today. I'm so excited about baseball and Masters. But I'm with Andy Skeels, pinch hitting for Jimmy Leyritz, and Robin DeLory's with us today. And Robin's bearing the name Mets. I don't know why on her shirt. And
actually, I'm really gonna step it up.
No, this scares me. Oh God, I don't even know why that's in the house. All the hats that the dog.
I don't either because I don't wear these dumb flat things.
Skillsy, all the hats the dog eats. He's never ate a Met hat. I'm gonna give. That's why.
Speaking of the dog, hon,
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of listeners out there that love dogs. Okay. Ours is literally on the other side of the door in the studio, and he's crying.
Good. Let him cry. let him cry because he's probably a Met fan. Anyway.
It's torture. I love him.
As a Mets fan on the show, I take offense to that statement.
Oh, take it easy. Then do you take the dog? He's free. You want him?
So we have a golden retriever, and he finds every way to get in trouble. And for some reason, and he's a baby, so it's raining and it's pouring outside, and he finds puddles and he drinks the puddles, and he literally comes in and he's completely covered in mud. So I've had to give him 2 showers already today, but I think he wants to be with me, honey. So can I let him in?
Oh yeah, sure, Robin. Do whatever you want.
All right.
He's a slapper. Anyway, let's get back to the Masters. So the Masters is on today, and it's the first day, and all the people that decided Tiger's never going to, walk again and doubted him, including what we were reported, Andy, when he had the awful accident out there in California. But again, this guy's got the heart of a lion, and he's hanging. He's 1 under right now, and he's probably feeling like crap, but he pushes through it. I mean, this guy is just, you got to admit, whether you like him or not, he's a warrior. And he's a warrior in the sports world like no other.
Yeah. I mean, what do you say? This guy got in a car accident that would probably disable most people for life, and 14 months later, he's out playing the Masters. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean,
and you mentioned it. You articulated it so well yesterday. He just finished at one under, by the way. Just amazing, getting a standing ovation. I'm watching it. But you articulated so well yesterday to walk the grounds. Never mind swing a club, just to walk the grounds, and it would be amazing. And nobody gave him any chance. And here he is on the leaderboard at 1 under. And I know it's the first day, but it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And the reaction of the people just howling and clapping for him. Good for him. You know what I mean? Everybody likes a comeback, but this guy's. I love Jack Nicklaus. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure him and Arnie Palmer changed the game of golf. But I don't know. Can anybody be more courageous and tough than this kid? And he's not a kid anymore.
Well, I mean, he plays going back to the 2008 U.S. Open out in San Diego. Of course, you and I have played, and
yep.
Torrey Pines. He won with a broken leg.
A broken leg.
Kidding?
Right. And what people fail to realize, it was broken on that Sunday. Didn't he come back on Monday and have to play in the playoff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine going to bed Sunday night knowing you got a broken leg, and you come out the next day and you play with a broken leg. I mean, I know he was done, shut down after that, but he won, and I believe it was a major. Yeah, it was a major.
It wasn't. It was a U.S. Open.
Yeah. So unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. I'm watching him walk off now. It's just the response of the people is just incredible, and good for him. And on that note, where's Phil? I mean, where's Phil? I mean, now the Masters.
I think Phil lost his mind.
I know, but they came out yesterday and said that the Masters said we had nothing to do with it. It was his decision not to come. I don't know. Do you believe that? And I never knew the Masters wasn't associated with the PGA Tour. This is separate from the PGA Tour. So they have their own little body of power there. But do you believe that nobody picked up the phone and said, Phil, we don't need you taking away the attention. Stay home this year. But, I mean, come on. The guy made a mistake. He opened up his mouth. Big deal. All right. Are we not going to – this guy is another one that's so great for the game. He was great for the game.
I think, I agree with what you said. I think he kind of stuck his foot in his mouth, and upon further reflection and probably, a lot of his buddies on the tour and, obviously what the tour has done for him, both financially, personally, and everything else. And I think he realized, wow, or at least I hope he realized that that was stupid.
Yeah, so you say it's stupid, and you get a second chance.
You come to the Masters, you got to answer all those questions.
Yeah, no doubt. But he's good on his feet. He's good on his feet. He could come out and say he was sorry. Yeah, he messed up. I guess he was taking a position. This is where you get in trouble. It's like if you're you're a lawyer and you get in trouble and you decide to represent yourself. Anybody will tell you, a lawyer should never represent. Get somebody else to represent you. I think he got in over his head talking about something, trying to do the right thing, or kind of put a little bit of a gun to the head of the PGA. But like you said, he made so much money. He made a fortune and was so beloved. I don't know why he thought it was necessary to come out and take a position there. And I don't care what people say, wrong or right. Come on, the Masters misses this guy. This is another guy that was just a gamer at all times, and you love to watch him because he didn't play for second place. He didn't care. He went balls out all the time. So
yeah, I mean, I think in any athlete, but any fan, I think you can respect a guy who, is willing to go out there and literally take his shot. I mean, might not make sense. Everybody thinks you can't do it. I'm gonna give it a shot anyway.
Yeah.
And he's that kind of personality. He's that kind of player, and obviously next to Tiger, one of the greatest in the history of the game. So, of course the marquee events miss people like that.
Yeah. I hope he comes back. Matt, who's leading? What do you got? You got an update on the leaderboard? I'm seeing Dustin Johnson's had 8 holes in, and he's already 2 under. So, Skillsy, I think you made mention of yesterday as one of your picks. What do you have on the leaderboard there?
All right, there's actually a tie for first right now. Cameron Smith and Scotty Schaffer are both tied at 4 under.
Right.
Cameron Smith's done for the day.
Okay.
Scotty Schaffer's just finished hole 17. Tiger is sitting tied for 9th at 1 under par.
All right, so Cameron Smith, who's been hot as a pistol, is in the clubhouse at 4 under, and he's a lot of people were not giving him enough credit there, but it seems like he went out there the first day and is showing him that he's worthy even at the Masters. Robin, you watching it?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what time the Met game's on tonight, Robbie?
It used to be on like 7:10.
What's used to be mean?
Like the games were 7:10 or 1:15 or something like that.
Even opening day.
It was supposed to be a 4:10 start, but it got pushed back to 7:05 because of the weather.
Maddie, why do you always bail her out? Just stand by what you're bailing out. Jesus.
Yes, sir.
She's wearing the name, the Met fan. She's such a big fan. I wanted to know from my beautiful wife, because I'm not home, what time the Met game started today. Her mother will call in and tell me. I could tell you
Matt
that.
posted a Mets jersey, Santana, today.
I'm in my Johan Santana Mets jersey. It's tradition for opening day.
Was he a real Met or really he was a twin?
He was a twin, but this just happened to be the Mets jersey, the one Mets jersey I have. I mean, I have player shirts, but this was the jersey I grabbed out of my closet this morning.
Because he's the only one.
The only one I care about is the guitarist.
Yeah, exactly. Skillsy, will you please tell them that, I believe Santana was the only one to pitch a no-hitter, and that was it ruined his career after that. But
it did.
Tom Terrific, none of the big guys ever had a no-hitter with the Mets.
Hey, babe.
You had a lot of huge names. I mean, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, John Matlack,
Doc.
You have pretty illustrious names.
Oh, Doc had a no-hitter, but it wasn't for the Mets.
Yeah, I know, but that's to Andy's point. Doc was one of the big ones who never had a no-hitter with us.
Yeah, yep. Go ahead, Delory. What do you got?
Yeah, what's going on behind you right there? Did somebody go shopping today? Because you got 3 Amazon gifts here, one from FedEx.
Adam, I told you to put that bag out of the camera shot. No,
you got new Nikes.
Yeah,
Andy, do you remember him being like a shopper?
No, never.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, because
No.
Skillsy.
What would happen is we'd go to different tournaments or different places, and people were kind enough to lend us some of their stuff in an effort to help promote.
That's
right.
right.
Tommy's thing was really more of a community effort on behalf of other people.
Oh,
Okay.
That's good. That's really good.
No, that's true. And behind
That's
these
really
presents
good.
that are behind me are for you.
Let me see.
They're for you.
Let's show everybody,
I
huh?
got you a new shirt, a Yankee
Let me
shirt.
see.
I got you a Yankee shirt. I will, but I don't. I will not break. I'll break them out and I will show you what I got
right.
you. And I have to go to Denver tomorrow to do an appearance at the old Colorado Rockies stadium for the Dodger game. I'm flying out, as you know. I offered for you to come, and then I have to have a law enforcement dinner thing that I'm going to. But so I got you something, hoping that we could have pulled that off. But then you told me no, you have to stay home because.
Well,
Joe.
you know why?
Yeah.
My son is making One of the 7 sacraments.
Yes, we're so religious in this family. But anyway, never.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
And I can't breathe in Colorado.
Yeah. Hey, Skillsy, talk about that for a minute. You know, we went out there on a family vacation, and Jordan Spieth is, I think, +1 I just saw, or maybe -1. He's -1.
And what a vacation it was.
Yeah, but I had trouble breathing out there. How do you play out there?
Slowly.
Yeah, I mean, does it wear you down? No, does it wear you down?
Yeah, it does. It's like anything else. You just got to get acclimated.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing. If you're from anywhere else around the country and you come in, you can feel it for sure.
We
and
did,
especially in the summer too, because that at that elevation. Plus, it dries you out in a hurry.
We bought those things that you suck in. They didn't help.
Yeah,
I think they're called straws.
No, I had a kid.
They're like this. Those things that you buy. What are they called?
Gummies. You tried to get. You tried to get in that store too.
It's very different show.
But I was shooting cans of air in my mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oxygen.
Yeah, it's dry, and like I said, it definitely wears you out a lot faster.
Is this one of the? Would you be, if you're not a pitcher? If you're a hitter, it's great to go there. But is it one of the reasons players, free agents, decide not to go there?
Depends on what stage of your career. I mean, if you're a guy who, if you're a hitter, you definitely want to go there. Put 2 or 3 years of pretty good numbers up on the board. But now they got every analytic and breakdown in the world, so they track you. How did Arenado hit when he was in Colorado versus how they hit on the road? So they have a park adjusted stat that kind of covers all that. But nonetheless, it's a lot easier to sell yourself if you got 27, 30 home runs versus 18 somewhere else. It's just human nature. So, if you're a pitcher, good luck.
Yeah, buyer beware, right?
Colorado.
Yeah. You're listening to the Big 8 Radio. Call us 727-518-0820. We're going to be going to break in about a minute. It's opening day, man, in America. And for the guys that are talking today on the radio, it's like Christmas. So give us a call. I want to hear from some dads out there that have a tradition. I know my brother-in-law been taking my godson, JT, who's now married adult. They don't miss a Yankee opening day, which I think is pretty cool. And I'll say this emotional thing before I go. On opening day, if my godson is not going to an opening day game, he goes to the cemetery and sits at the cemetery plot with my father and his Jorge Posada shirt on, because they used to watch the Yankees together. So that gets me a little choked up. So happy opening day to everybody. We'll talk more baseball when we get back. We'll talk about Tiger, Jordan Spieth. We'll talk about Justin Thomas. You're listening to Big 8 Radio, 727-518-0820. Give us a call. Andy Skeels, Tommy Settner, Robin DeLory. tell you what we're talking about today on the Big Eight. There's only two things to talk about. The Masters, which unfortunately is getting a second talk about, and the first is opening day in America. Opening day for MLB. Except for our beloved Yankees. I'm wearing my pinstripes today in honor of them and my New York Yankee hat. And the Yankee on the other end of the call here, Mr. Andy Skeels, 3-time World Series champion with the Giants. Guess couldn't make up his mind. He's wearing nothing.
1776.
1776.
I'm rooting for America.
All right.
There you go.
That's fair. And my beloved wife is wearing a Met jersey, whatever. Anyway, you know what I want to know, and I'm going to start with Matt, our producer, and then go to our engineer, Adam. Tell me, Matt, your favorite experience with a family member on opening day. I don't care if you were 5, 15, 25. Tell me, what was your favorite?
Well, it wasn't so much opening day. It was more the day before my birthday.
Okay.
So I was watching a game on TV. It was Mets-Cardinals. The day before my birthday, I remember just jumping up and down in my living room when Beltran hit a walk-off home run against St. Louis to end the game and send me happy going into my birthday. Favorite moment with a family member at a game? That's easy. 2004, Tom Glavine threw a one-hitter for the Mets against the Rockies. I went to the game with my mom. We bought the tickets literally day of game. It was a last-minute thing. We just said, hey, do you want to go? We're like, yeah, sure. So we walked up to Shea. We bought the tickets. It was a Saturday afternoon against Colorado. We were up in the blue seats. Glavine threw the one-hitter.
That's awesome. And again, that is an awesome story. But Tom Glavine, you mean Tom Glavine, Hall of Fame Atlanta Brave Tom Glavine?
Yeah.
All right, no further
Atlanta
questions.
Brave Hall of Famer Tom Glavine,
All
but
right.
at the time he threw it for the Mets.
All right. I'm kidding with you. What about you there, Mr. Adam?
It was an opening day. I forget how old I was, but it was for my hometown minor league team called the Traverse City Beach Bums, and they opened up early that day to let everybody out onto the field and stuff. And
Right.
I was playing catch with my dad on the field and out in the outfield. We got to talk to all the players and stuff. That was probably one of my favorite memories going to any baseball game.
That's
ever.
cool. You know, minor leagues, and obviously Skeelsy and I had a lot of experience in the Atlantic League. It's great. You know, it's not about the game in the minor leagues. It's about the fun and what goes on outside the game and the little games we play within the game.
100%.
And then you hope to get to see a future star, which a lot of people have. Go ahead, Cano. What was your favorite moment with your boys, I'm sure?
What?
Okay, if I wanted I Love Lucy show here, what was your favorite moment with your boys at a baseball game that you shared?
We had a lot of fun times at Citi Field, but I don't remember it being actually opening. Oh, yes. When, oh, God.
Here we go. Nobody asked him when his favorite game was. The dog that everybody.
We took
our
Michael
listeners hear.
to the Citi Field, and okay, see, here we go. We have to tell everybody the truth here. Stop everything. This is a little bit of an argument my husband and I are having. And as my luck would have it, I lost the argument. He has begged me not to bring this dog into the studio, and I have not listened to him. And now my dog is freaking out and barking and proving my husband right. Yeah. So,
this is live radio, by the way.
Yeah, well, I think everybody can relate to these
live
kind of
radio
arguments.
On the Big Eight today. Sports Talk Florida 727-518-0820. Go ahead, Robin.
Okay, so Citi Field opened up, and we made reservations in the restaurant that was right, like you could see the field. Yeah. And Michael was a baby, and we had a really nice time taking our son. We took him to a lot of games.
That's beautiful. So
and then
basically,
then when I had my other son, we always went to the games. We have a brick there. We tried to find it.
You got a brick there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they could buy more players. But listen to me, Cano, when I asked you about what was your favorite time with them, and you talked about that you went to a restaurant. Next question, Andy.
No, you
what
said
about your
opening
favorite?
day, and I didn't remember if it was actually opening day.
That's all right. I guess it wasn't so memorable. Andy?
Oh, gosh. A lot of them. I guess most recent memory would have been 2009 when I was managing in San Jose. Madison Bumgarner was our starter. Brandon Crawford was our shortstop, and Buster Posey was behind the plate.
Unbelievable.
And off off that team that year, we wound up sending, and I think this is a record, but we wound up sending 16 players to the big leagues off that one minor league team alone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I remember, Andy, you invite me to a few games. I'd come down and hang with you, and I remember watching those guys when they were young, and then I used to get such a kick out of them, when they got in the big leagues, and they weren't kids anymore. They were dominating the big leagues, and I know one of your other favorite players was Hunter Pence when he was with the Giants.
Greatest guy in the world.
Yeah, I mean, what's he doing now? Somebody just told me he's involved in what? Do you know?
I know he had he loved coffee, and so I don't know if he bought a couple coffee houses.
I think that, but I think he's starting his own perfect game for these high school and college kids. He's running something that.
He might be.
Yeah.
I last time I saw him was actually down in Winter Bowl.
Yeah.
When he was sort of making a comeback. I mean, just real quickly, like I said, Hunter Pence, always will be a huge fan. One of the greatest ball players in the game, but plays the game and played the game the way you should.
Right.
I mean, he was as old school as it got. But here's a guy who's a 15-year veteran, 2-time World Series winner, and he goes down to Winter Bowl to try to get his swing right and winds up having a monster year, first half before he got hurt with Texas. Yeah. I mean, this kid, he's not a kid, but I mean, this guy, what a pro. And
as he said, as you said, he played the game the right way. Fitz, stop crying. I'm talking to my dog, everybody. 727-518-0820 on the fan. Obviously, I guess he feels left out, the dog, today. But Skillsy, tell me about those years with the San Francisco Giants, and we're going to talk a little baseball till we go to the break, and then when we come back, we'll hit a couple other things. But, the San Francisco Giants, not to be an obnoxious Yankee fan, their front office was just filled with Yankees. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. You had Brian Sabian, you had Dick Tidrow, you had our farm director, Fred Stanley. As many of you guys who are true Yankee fans, you remember when Chicken was the shortstop during 77 and 78 for them. Famously in the movie, George Steinbrenner was yelling at him. But
hey, classic line, Andy. Though Steinbrenner said, "How the hell can we win a World Series with a guy called the Chicken?" Sidebar, real quick. My producer Maddie is telling me we're not on the fan. I didn't say we're on the fan. I said my dog Fitz is crying. He must not be a fan. But go ahead, Andy, with your story. Love you, Matt.
And just a Newark Bears side note, he knew Tony Ferrara for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, great.
But, yeah, I mean, you look at all the people that came over from the Yankees, although the great Yankee years were actually preceded by, the J.T. Snows, the Brad Ausmuses. That's when they started building their minor league system. And Brian Sabian and Dick Tidrow were right at the very heart of that. Well, when they came over to the Giants, you had 90% of the scouts for us were all ex-Yankee guys.
Right.
Half our player development people were all ex-Yankee guys. We either played or coached, or, Joe LaFay came over, great baseball mind. Bam Bam was there. So we had a heavy Yankee influence.
Yeah.
And it permeated the core of how you develop players, how you scouted players, and how you were expected to play at the big leagues.
You're listening to Andy Skills, 3-time World Series champ with the Giants, Robin DeLory and Tommy Setner on Big 8 today. And we're live from 4 to 6, and it's opening day, and we're excited about that. Andy, before we get off of that subject, the funny thing is, you shared the Fred Stanley's nickname, the Chicken. What was Dick Tidrow's nickname?
Dirt.
I mean, today's world, you probably get in trouble or they'd go to human resources. But, I mean, just classic stuff,
Yeah, those are the good old days. I mean, HR probably didn't know 95% of anything that happened. But
Robin and I were talking about something today. Our high school kids are goofing around with each other doing this TikTok, and I know sometimes.
Oh yeah, tell them, Matt.
It could be.
Tell them about that.
It could be poison. And Matt, how long do I have before we go to break?
We got about 3 minutes.
All right. So, we have our what we call the king in our house, Michael Filippone, and unbelievable, broke every record in high school this year for football, and got every award possible throughout the state, and is going to play further his career at Delaware, where his dad went. And so he's a great baseball player also. So, Andy, you know this better. There's nothing better than that locker room banter, as long as it's respectful and you're not going somebody outside of that locker room. And of course, yesterday he was 4 for 4 with 3 doubles, 3 stolen bases, just lit it up, legit. His dad told me that. I'm not counting on the mommy telling me that. And they do a little TikTok on the bus on the way back, and they got nicknames for each other. And they say to Michael, basically, Mike, how the hell did you go 3 for 3, hit the ball so hard today? He said, I just imagined it was somebody I didn't like, and I was smashing the crap out of the ball. As innocent as that, as kids, we were told, make believe it's somebody you don't like and hit the damn thing already, Well, that TikTok got into some parents' wrong hands, and who gives a rat's ass who she is. But then it was a whole S show, and Robin's doing politically correct show last night, and I'm like, wow, these kids are on a bus in uniform interviewing each other, goofing around. And it just goes to show you, man, with these phones, everything's live, everything's a problem, everybody reads into something, and it was just some good old-fashioned baseball term, So to your point, dirt, chicken, the things we used to say to each other, and not disrespectful things, just good camaraderie. It's starting to lose its zeal, man. And high school is so politically correct, they can't even goof around on a bus with each other.
Oh, you got a bunch of people who never did it or can't appreciate it, and they look for different ways to be offended.
You know what I say, Andy? It was a line that I said in my house once, and then it became a line that my children use. You never had a dinner, man. You never had a dinner. You never got to be where we were or we accomplished, and you just sit back and you're miserable and you got to pick on people. So, with that, we're going to go to break in 90 seconds. When we come back, Andy and Robin, I do want to touch on it. It's a historic day for the Supreme Court. First African-American, Brown Jackson, and she's a woman. And we'll get a little political there about, is it fair? I believe the last, these hearings are a nightmare. But, this court needs to, I don't know. People are just too serious, man. And then
seriously.
And then I want to get into I'm hoping for everybody that this COVID. Can we get an answer, Madam Speaker? Anybody, but I will say to you, we need some answers with the CDC. So listen, before we leave our baseball, let's the famous 2 words: play ball. And as they say in the 7th inning in New York, get up and stretch. Let's stretch into the 5 o'clock hour. And with that, New York Yankees, I love you. And the New York Mets, who had my brother throw out the first pitch to Mr. Joe Torre during 9/11. My favorite thing you both do is in the 7th inning, you play God Bless America, Maddie. Let me hear some God Bless America.
God Bless America. Please welcome recording artist Robin DeLory, also the sister-in-law.
All right, you guys are out.
Superintendent Edward.
Cobb continues with Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
I have a memory with this song. You want to ask me?
The great Billy Joel playing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and I don't care if I ever come back. Isn't that the truth, man? Listen, we're going to get into a couple other things, but it's opening day for Major League Baseball, and every time I hear that song, it gives me chills. What about you, Delory? You're a musician. What's that song do for you?
Yeah, I have actually brought back. I don't have a very good memory like you do, or my brother. He remembers like movie things and every. But this song, that music came back to me, and it reminded me of a moment in time. And when my mother became a grandmother, she was the happiest that she had ever been, and the love that she had was just so darn overwhelming. She used to sing to the boys, and the very first song she sang to the boys was not this one. It was from The King and I, called "Getting to Know You."
Yep.
And then the second song that she sang to the boys every night, every single time, was "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And they learned that as the first song. So that brings back some very happy memories.
Well, if you're listening, Suzanne, good for you. It's one of my favorites. But everybody's listening today live on the Big 8 here. You're listening to Andy Skeels, 3-time World Series champion, filling in and pinch hitting for the King, Jimmy Leyritz, who is literally arriving in New York City for the Yankees opener tomorrow. And Robin,
I hope he's drinking his caffeine because he must be exhausted. Speaking of which, this bottle right here has enough caffeine, not too much, but just enough. Tastes like water. It is delicious. Has very, very, especially over ice. I love it. This happens to be black cherry, my favorite. But today, for opening day, they have a really great sale going on. $3 off any 24-pack on Amazon.com.
Really?
And you know how easy it is to order on Amazon. Just click, buy now.
No, unfortunately, I know how easy it is that you order on Amazon. But Big Joe, we'll give a shout out to you. I know you're back on your feet, and you're the co-founder with Ronnie with this caffeine and water. And I'm going to be drinking it tonight because I don't want to miss any of the games on the West Coast that are being played later. But let me ask you a question, Big Joe, and you can answer via email, text, or call me at 727-518-0820. Is this discount like a half-ass discount because you're so passionate about your Mets? It's the only day you could be in first place, if you want to know.
Oh,
I love Big Joe. Give me a call. By the way, Andy, he could break me in half. He's a monster. But I want to switch gears a little bit before we go back to baseball and the Masters. The Supreme Court finally, and again, I always say this: you have to respect the office of the presidency. So you can easily criticize a lot of things that this administration's done or President Trump's administration's done. But one of the things that, at all the wrong they did, as they say in the song, "I Did Something Right," President Biden, congratulations to you, nominating Justice Jackson. She's the first African-American to serve on the high court. She'll be sworn in the very near future. And, politics aside, sometimes it gets so ugly. The only thing we hear from the media is all the bad about these people. And I would tell you that if you didn't hear it, Cory Booker, our senator and former mayor of Newark and friend, and we might different on opinions, and a lot of people do, but he gave an incredible speech, and it was called "You Are Worthy" to her, and she is more than worthy. And you too can feel free to weigh in or not, but I just want to send out behalf of the King and the Cop show. Good for America. The high court needs some diversity, and we got it. And we got it with a good woman. And selfishly, she's got a little law enforcement in her family. So I congratulate Justice Jackson and Godspeed to her. Robin, as a woman, I'm sure that we even have to say these things. Never mind that she's the first African American or she's a woman, but you do have to be extra proud. I mean, I have 2 granddaughters. I mean, it's so many years too late. So congratulations, President Biden.
I'm really proud to be a woman, especially right now. I wish I kind of missed all of this empowerment growing up, because my generation, there was still some mixed messages that we got. And this is kind of a heavy subject, but we got some mixed messages about, still kind of being caught in between what the generation is now with education and go out there and kick butt, with stay at home, raise your kids. So we were like in this middle area where, if you got education and you got a job, but you traveled too much, that wasn't good. But if you didn't get an education and you didn't help contribute to it's a very confusing generation and time. So I am thrilled for the younger generation to see that women are that we live in a time that we have a woman man, because I was happy to be a woman because she was in such a powerful position. But I'm not a huge fan of her, not that anybody cares. But nonetheless, like you said before, I don't have to like or agree with, with all of these rules and doctrines and laws and the way people handle things in politics. But as a woman, just as a woman, I think it is totally amazing. And, I think it's great. Now I'm going to take it one step further and say one thing. If we are equal, which we are, and we're pushing towards a new tomorrow where, it's trying to get there where it's not a man's world. I am a little bit insulted that Joe Biden, when he was picking his running mate, made an announcement saying it was going to be a woman. So don't throw us a bone here. Pick whoever is right for the job.
Yeah. And
I almost got it was almost insulting as a woman. Like, oh, thanks. You think you're going to win because you're using a woman for your running mate? Or, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. And let me weigh in before Andy jumps in, and then I want to get on to another subject. The vice president, as we learned, we have Andy, our mutual friend, Spencer Geisinger, who served in 3 different administrations, was on a couple weeks ago. And he said to our listeners, I sat in the rooms. I sat in the rooms and listened to the decisions made. And 10 minutes later, I heard it on the media, and it was a totally different story. So you got to be careful how people judge whether Republican or Democrat. I've had the honor of meeting the vice president. Her sister-in-law is a friend of mine. We went to school together. Her husband went to my high school. I met her.
Can you ask her to stop talking so condescending to the world? Can you ask her to answer a question, directly answer a question?
Robin, you also have to understand.
She's condescending and insults my intelligence to the core. You have to understand she's the vice president of the United States, and sometimes the president's people tell people what to say. So we'll leave it at that. She's the vice president. Tell them, the people that work for you, to shut up. I'm going to answer the question. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. All right, Robin, you made your point. It doesn't work that way. But I am proud that she's a woman. That's great. Andy, what are your thoughts on the new justice? I mean, there's so much hate in the world right now. Our country tries to pull it together, but we do just really get almost hateful when these nominees come across the board. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. It just gets ugly right away. And every vote now, it used to be 93-7. It used to be 99-1. Now it's 53-47. It's 50-50. And, the vice president has to break the tie if they're in power. What's your thoughts on this?
Oh, boy. You are definitely my brother, but we definitely sit on different sides of the fence politically on an issue like this. I think I don't care if she's a woman or a man. Like Robin alluded to it, I want the best, candidate. But being and she's qualified for sure. I mean, Harvard Law, she, appellate court. She's as qualified as anybody who's ever been nominated.
Correct.
I don't point where, oh, well, that the 10 other maybe potentially better candidates, maybe 2 of them are Hispanic women. Why aren't they getting considered?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's problematic when you start playing the game of this, oppressive Olympics where you got to be at the top of the triangle to even get a nod. I think, and a lot of this, TC, this, like you said, I mean, and this was the same in baseball, right? 90% of everything that winds up in the media was wrong.
Yep.
So it kind of depends on whose ox is getting gored, and it depends on what media you're reading. But I followed the hearings, and it seems to me the toughest question she got was from Marsha Blackburn, define what a woman is.
Yeah, that was confusing. No, I think that's a case again where somebody's saying don't answer that question when you know she would answer that question and crush that question. And this is where it's so ridiculous.
That's my problem. If you're going to say, well, my handlers tell me you're up for the highest position in the land. It's a lifetime appointment. If you don't have enough integrity to answer your own questions for your own self, how can I have any confidence that you're going to do the same when it comes to any other decision?
But let's be fair. None of them do.
How do you even answer that question today?
But none of them do. None of them.
2 X chromosomes.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, she's 51 years old. Like you said, Andy, we can all agree on one thing. Bad bedside manner the way Biden approached it, but we got one hell of a justice out of it. She's more than qualified. That's the bottom line. So a history, as they do in presidents, they will always tell what goes on in life.
Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I would say, so TC, I know you, like I said, you're like a brother. There's plenty of people who have knowledge, but it's the people who have judgment that you want to put your faith in. So TC, how many police captains, internally, people up for promotion, you say, well, they're qualified simply because they had positions, but they lack judgment. So I can't turn over a larger position of authority to that person. I mean, your brother's a perfect example. He's brilliant. He's had all the jobs, but he has judgment. That's why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. Well, time will tell. I think she has judgment. I think she's got good judgment. I think once they get out from underneath and you are eventually appointed, I think they're their own people. The court's proven that. The Chief Justice Roberts doesn't go straight down the conservative line. People are furious at him, and he was a staunch Republican conservative. So anyway, we could agree to disagree, but we all need to root for our president and our vice president and our justices and the people that make the decisions. Because if we decided to go over who has judgment throughout the Senate and Congress, we'd be dumping the whole city of Washington upside down. That's my opinion. But
I don't think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, I can't disagree. On a great note, and I woke up to this morning and I thought this, and I think of two things. And I look at a picture of this stud in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform, number 42. And Andy will speak about that after this story. The real number 42 on April 15th is going to be the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking into the big leagues. But, a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Anthony Sherman, played in the NFL for 10 years and was a Super Bowl champion as a member of the Chiefs. He recently exchanged his football jersey for the attire of a sheriff deputy in Bourbon County, Kansas. I mean, first thing I thought it was Pat Tillman, who gave up his, as an Arizona Cardinal football player, gave up his NFL career making millions of dollars and went over and fought for our country because he felt that he was needed more over there fighting for our country in a foreign country instead of playing football. And unfortunately, lost his life. And here, I got chills. I was like, good for this guy, man. He did 10 years, won the Super Bowl easily. I'm sure he don't need any money. I'm sure he's got a great retirement package. I'm going to get in a radio car now, and I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to put my life on the line. Robin, your father was a cop. Andy, I know you support all the charities. Something like this is pretty cool when you see a guy like that step down and go and not play cop. He's going to be the real police now.
100%. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, anybody who's willing to give up and put on the line what they have to do every day, how can you not honor that?
Yeah, it's really cool, and I know out in Arizona, I've been there. They still honor Pat Tillman, rightfully so. They're the real heroes, man. So yeah, he got to be Super Bowl champion hero, and now he's going to give back, and that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to give back, and he's doing it. And so congratulations to him. When things settle down, we'll reach out and see if we can get him on the show on the King and the Cop here, because he can relate to both sports and law enforcement now. So I'm happy about that, and it's good to see stuff like that.
Babe, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I know I absolutely agree with all of that. I think it's amazing and good for him, and way to go. But do me a favor on a completely separate note. Can you move your camera? Because I just see your hat, and Andy and I want to see your mouth talking.
Okay.
Well, that's the last thing I want to see.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah,
would you like me to take a picture and show you?
No, I see it myself now, but I'm on radio, so nobody cares where my hat is. But
well, I need to see your mouth. We're having a conversation, right?
all right, and he's gonna fix me up. But listen.
What's he gonna do? It's your phone.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't do anything.
all right, hold on. I apologize. I didn't know my phone was doing. I plugged it in, so
There you go.
how's that? Any better? I know
Welcome
you
back to the show.
You're missing my handsome face.
Yeah.
Listen, for the listeners out there, give us a call. We're wide open to any of these discussions. 727-518-0820. You're listening to the Big Eight. We got Andy Skeels filling in for the King, Jimmy Laritz, and Robin Delory's on today. And yeah, we knocked around Justice and celebrated her, and Robin had her opinion on our VP. Everybody's allowed their opinion. That's the great thing about this show. So call us, 727-518-0820. You're listening to Big 8 Radio. It's opening day. When we come back, Masters and opening day.
with the King and the Cop.
Welcome back to the King and the Cop. We have Andy Skills today. He's joining us, and for the second day in a row, filling in for Jimmy Leyritz, the King, and Robin DeLory. Maddie, give me an update. What's going on in the Masters?
All right, well, looking at the Masters leaderboard right now, we have Cameron Smith and Dustin Johnson tied at 4 under with Sugar M. So we have 3 guys tied at the top of the leaderboard at -4 at the end, as of we sit right now at about 25 after 5.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I was trying to follow it, and obviously we're doing the show live, and you're listening to the Big 8. Call 727-518-0820. But I guess Tiger got caught on a hot mic after a shot or something using the F word, and instead of his play being the story, of course the media is going to blow that out of proportion.
Can't even say the good old-fashioned F word anymore.
No, the good old-fashioned. You do. You can say whatever you want. But do me a favor. Don't say it now. Don't say it now.
I won't. But give this guy a break.
Yeah, I know. But you know, that's the world we live in right now. You know. But I'm sure he'll have to apologize and explain to himself, and you know, there'll be sponsors. If it wasn't Tiger Woods, they'd be knocking on the door saying, we're taking your sponsorship away. You know, Robin, what's going on this weekend in the beautiful New Jersey with the weather? All the games are rainouts, or are the Yankees?
As far as high school?
Well, I really don't care about high school, but yes. But what the Yankees?
It's kind of really all I know.
What are they saying? The Yankee game going to open up tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. And then Sunday, we're going to the Yankee game.
That's Sunday night, the ESPN game of the week, I think.
So that'll be fun.
David Cohn's making his debut there, Jimmy's good friend. You know, yeah, we're going to bring our my youngest daughter, Brett, Fordham University student. So she's right down the street, so that's going to be fun. We'll actually get to see her twice in 10 days, so I'm looking forward to that. That
would be lovely.
My little girlfriend there. And Rob, get the Met hat out of the vision for the YouTube people on the Facebook Live. I mean, it's bad enough I got to see you in a Met sweatshirt. Adam, right? I mean, Adam.
Nobody can see it anyway.
They can't see it? All right, I just saw it.
I'm just putting it on.
I'll do one better, honey.
She's going to put it on, yeah. And are there games this weekend for the super studs in the household there?
My studs?
Yeah.
No, no, they're all canceled because of the rain.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happens when we live here.
And
you'll be in the Rocky Mountains,
right?
And then you have to get home for the sacrament.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Tonight they're with their dad, and that's it. I mean, I wish I had more interesting things to say, but I don't.
Right.
I mean, I do if you want to talk about other things.
No, that's okay. That's quite okay. We'll talk about the Masters and Matt
looks so stupid.
Yeah, Matt, you got any update MLB scores for me?
Yes, I do. Hang on a second. We've got a couple of games going on right now.
And what did happen? Did Skillsy's girlfrifriend kidnap him? Where's Skillsy go?
I don't know, but
he's here.
There's three games going on right now as we speak. Cubs are up 5-4 on the Brewers, middle of the 8th. The Guardians have a 1-0 lead on Kansas City, bottom of the 5th.
The who?
The Cleveland Guardians
okay.
have a 1-0 lead on the Royals, bottom of the 5th. And the St. Louis Cardinals are up 4-0 on the Pirates, middle of the 3rd.
What has Pujols done? Anything?
Checking that right now. Last I saw, he was 0 for 1, and Yadier Molina got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Albert Pujols 0 for 1 on the day.
Skillsy, did you see? I know the King and I talked about it, and Robin talked about it, and it's kind of sad. And he's a tremendous family man, 5 children, and done a lot for his community. But did you see his wife had brain surgery, and then they soon after that, a couple days, when she was having brain surgery, he was down in spring training for the last day, and then they announced that they're getting divorced. Did you see that?
I saw that. Obviously the timing of it, to say the least, is odd.
Right.
He's a pretty private person anyway.
Well, I know you know him, and it seemed like they had listen, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. We talk about it all the time. But they seem to have a wonderful relationship. And for, like you said, the timing of walking away from the hospital bed seemed kind of bizarre to me.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. So
yeah, well, nobody's judging. I'm not judging. I'm just pointing out the facts. And
yeah, I don't know what to make of it. And like I said, the timing was just so odd. But
It's got to affect his play, though, doesn't it, Andy? I mean, not for nothing. You guys are human beings. Like, I mean, when you go home and you don't have a good household, or something's going wrong, or something's happening, like every other marriage from any other profession, there's always ups and downs. And but when you got to hit a 98-mile fastball and your head's not there, you might not be the great Hall of Famer that you once were, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're human and they carry with them all the things that everybody else does. But when you're trying to do, trying to hit a baseball, round bat and a round ball and try to hit it square, it makes it tough. It's a lot to bring out to the field every day. And, if things are bad at home, it for sure translates into your work. So, yeah, I mean,
you see these guys when they get up there, where they win a World Series now, which I think is one of the coolest things. All their kids come on the field with their wives, and same for the Super Bowl. I mean, it's they bring Steph Curry bringing his daughter to the podium a few years ago is now the norm. I mean, I think I don't know that there was a person in our country when Kobe lost his life with his daughter that wasn't affected by that, in a sense that I got to spend more time with my kids and put themselves in his shoes that day. But family's everything. So when you see something like this go down and by far, this guy is by far maybe at least top 10, top 5. You're the professional of all-time greats, right, in the game?
Yeah, I'd put him in the top 2 or 3 greatest right-handed hitters of all time. I mean, he's I mean, what he's done is amazing.
Amazing. And who's your first 2?
Hank Aaron and Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, really? Oh, that makes me. Oh,
What does it make you?
It makes me. It makes me sick. He's a 3-time. He's a 4-time loser. I'm going to tell you the first 3. Are you ready? Steroids, 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 and the 4th is he lost his relationship with J-Lo. How do you lose your relationship with J-Lo? You got to be a real moron. But I don't get, Andy. I know what you're going. I don't know what you're going to say, so I'm going to ask you what you're going to say. This guy, and Jimmy and I fight about this too, except for A-Rod, because Jimmy says he's the real number 13 there in New York, and I agree with him. But what makes you say that? I heard he's been on a juice since he's in high school.
Well, I think when it's all said and done, I think Mike Trout is going to wind up being the greatest center fielder and right-handed hitter of all time. No question.
Well, he's from Jersey.
Of course he is.
I'm not sure that factors into it.
It does for me.
Ted Williams was from Southern California.
He's living a good life in Orange County, right, Andy?
Yeah, right. I just think with the numbers and the things that he did, and you could say it was the juice, and some people say that, well, it was only for a short period of time. I don't know, but I can tell you the things that he did and the things that he could do, nobody else could do, period.
Yeah. And
he did it over such a long period of time. I mean, the power, the average, the RBIs, the plate discipline. I mean,
you can't talk for somebody else, but and he's such a class act, and he's going to be missed forever. I mean, how about Hank Aaron? Like you said, how great was Hank Aaron? And he had to put up with literally hundreds of death threats every time this man walked into the batter's box. And that wasn't just when he started to get close to the home run record. That was his whole career. And, and I know April 15th, we're going to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day. And I love that, where they will all wear number 42. We did that with the Newark Bears, and it's the 75th anniversary. And we had the Newark Bears. We had Mrs. Robinson out to our stadium. It was one of the biggest thrills for me to sit down with her and General Colin Powell, and I got to sit there and listen to that conversation. That's another show. But what do you think? And I know Aaron called Bonds and said congratulations, but did he really, deep down inside, think, come on, man, what the hell with you guys? Or, like some of the players from that time said, if the steroids were in play when we were playing in the 50s and 60s, we would have took him also to better ourselves. What do you think? What? Give me a little inside scoop now that you're out of the game for a minute.
So I think, was Hank sincere? I doubt it. I don't know that I would be either, but you talked about what Hank had to deal with on top of what he did as a career, I think is just
insane.
That alone makes him the greatest right-handed hitter of all time.
Right.
But there's an argument also to be said for, someone like Willie Mays or Joe DiMaggio. I mean, if DiMaggio wasn't playing in a left center field that was 465 feet, or Willie Mays playing in Candlestick Park, where the dimensions and the wind were ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, both of them could have had an extra 100, 150 home runs.
Or number 7.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think people who play recognize that different times and different eras under different conditions and the ballparks you play in have an enormous effect on what you do. So, they have all these numbers now, park adjusted numbers, and they can go back and say, well, if Joe DiMaggio was playing, in Cincinnati, he would have hit 900 home runs.
Right.
Whatever. But
if Ted Williams played in Yankee Stadium, he would have hit 900 home runs.
Oh, no.
I don't understand why these stadiums are all different. Like a football field is a football field, right? But why?
Well, one, you need less room for a football field. But originally baseball, I mean, when you were buying up property for a place to put a stadium, it really had to fall within the boundaries of whatever neighborhood you happen to be in. So
yeah, but Andy, her point is the football field is 100 yards in every stadium.
Right, so the fence, why is this fence so different?
The dimensions are different.
Well, the dimensions fit the basically property. They tried to put in as if you go to Fenway, how do you build the same distance where there's a road?
No, you can't. But these new stadiums, and you know this, and there's teams that have built these stadiums, brand new ones, and then had to move into fences because it didn't fit their team the right way.
So what's the minimum? Like, what's the minimum?
Laurie, you're coming up with some good baseball questions. What is the minimum? Yeah, what is the minimum?
There's no legal minimum, but by and large, 300 down the lines, 360 to 380 in the gaps, and 400 to 420 to center field. So,
right.
Like if you're playing in Colorado, you got it's the biggest outfield in all of baseball.
That's where I just don't think it makes sense to me.
Well, but the ball travels so much further that you'd have games that were 25 to 30 every night.
Yeah.
There's an algorithm.
Sort of, yeah.
We're going to be heading
because I'm hearing all these things like with the stats with, in different stadiums. How do you really measure who has the most home runs?
Yeah.
Like, because then you have to figure out how many times, like you have to take an aggregate of that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So what they do is they put a number on, they use the league average, and then they factor it out according to the ballpark. So Yankee Stadium versus Fenway Park. If you hit 320 in Yankee Stadium, you might hit 335 in Fenway Park. If you're a right-handed hitter, if you're a left-handed hitter, the numbers might be reversed. And then they take all that and mix it up at the end, and it comes out with a designated number for each stadium.
Okay.
So they would handicap you. So this is the way they do it a lot when they're making trades. You might be trading for a guy who had one set of numbers for 5 years in Colorado, but park adjusted numbers in Colorado are quite different. So those numbers are going to be a lot lower, if you wind up with the Yankees or the Red Sox or whatever.
So a home run doesn't necessarily have to mean over the fence.
Hold your thought, Delory. We're going to go to break, and we're at 727-518-0820. You're listening to Big 8 Radio. Andy Skeels, Tommy Setner, and Robin Delory. Give us a call on last 20 minutes. We'll finish it up with some baseball and Masters.
Let's get back to the show. It's Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
What are they talking about?
Man, we're talking about a lot. We're talking about a lot today, but it's opening day, and that's what we're leading with the most. And the Masters. Maddie, we got a caller, I believe.
Yes, we do. HD is on the line from Tampa.
HD, how are you today? HD.
Yes.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. Yeah, just a few notes I remember on ballparks and a trivia question for you guys, if you don't mind.
Love it.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium. Dead center field, 461. Off to the left side of the second base bag a little bit, just a little bit, 466, and down the line, left field line, 301, right field line, 296. Waist-high fence in the corners there. Obviously, at the Polo Grounds, 480 to dead center, 250 down each line. So it was designed for polo.
Right.
And when the Dodgers moved to L.A., they played in the L.A. Coliseum before Chavez was built. That was 250. And I never could figure out why they put the 250 in left field, where more batters obviously bat, left-handed. They should have put it in right field. It was 250 down the left field line and decent dimensions, normal dimensions down the right field line, because they had that to work with. They could have flipped it and had the right field line 250. But here is the trivia question. You ready?
Shoot.
Drum roll. Okay. Trivia question. What is the only major league team to play in Wrigley Field as the home team in a real Major League Baseball game? A real baseball game. Regular season game.
Other than
Wrigley
the Cubs
Field.
you're talking about?
Other than the Cubs, of course.
Andy?
Good question. I don't know. White Sox?
Nope.
Give up?
No. Wait, I got to guess, and we got to let Robin. She'll just maybe get it out of luck. Let's see. I'm going to say the Cardinals.
All right.
I'm going to say...
Wait a minute. Was I wrong?
Yes, you were wrong.
All right, go ahead, Robin.
I'm going to say the Rockies.
They weren't even around.
Well, Wrigley Field's still there, so they're okay. But no, that's wrong also. All right, so the answer to the question, the only major league team to play in Wrigley Field in the regular season game, a real game, as the home team was the Los Angeles Angels.
Really?
Clarification. First year in L.A., the Los Angeles Angels, I believe it was 1960, with the halo on the hat,
Yep.
played in an old Pacific Coast League park in South Central L.A., which the home plate is still there. It's now a housing project. It's still there. It was a Pacific Coast League park, which is a AAA league, of course, like the International League, etc. They played there their first year before Chavez was built, and it was the same stadium you saw on the old black and white home run derby. If you remember,
I do remember that. Yep.
And I would look at that, guys, and I'd say the ivy on the wall, but the wall is way taller than Wrigley. And what is it? Is it Forbes Field in Pittsburgh? No, and it drove me crazy every time I saw Willie Mays beat Mantler, Killebrew beat Gil Hodges, on. But
AHD,
yeah,
you remember the low fences you talked about at Yankee Stadium? When I grew up, Roy White, who I got to know when I was with the Newark Bears, he used to dive in those front rows like once an inning, saving home runs. I mean, that's one of the reasons they lifted him up. And then Superman of Mike Trout now, they go over like a 10-foot wall. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, well, it's bad on the hips with those old fields.
Exactly.
But,
who's your team, HD? Who's your team?
My team is crazy. I was a little kid. I was pulling for the Yankees. My family would go to upstate New York, Lake Placid, way up there.
Sure.
I'd get Red Barber and Mel Allen calling the game at a Saranac Lake, because Lake Placid at the time didn't have a radio station. We'd have to put the station on an old. We'd have to put the radio on an old steam heater to get better reception in the mountains of Adirondacks there. But I was a Yankees fan, big time. But then when I was a little kid thinking, I became an athletics fan because I'm thinking, wait a minute, there's no animals here, there's no blue this, no birds flying around, the athletics, that basically covers it all. So I switched to the A's and suffered like hell when they were in Kansas City. I mean, I suffered.
Right.
Okay. And I always looked at, here's another one. If you notice the athletics on their left arm, they have an elephant.
Just saw it today.
Standing on Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, and have an elephant standing on Earth with an A's on his side there, the elephant, in his trunk holding a bat. And I'm saying, what the hell are these guys, Republicans?
Right.
I don't like Republicans. I'm thinking, I'm looking at that. I say Republicans, elephants, Democrats, donkeys, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying, oh, man. But you know how that came about? That came about when Connie Mack bought the Philadelphia A's. They were awful.
Right.
He bought them in the year 1900. And the great manager for the New York Giants, when McGraw was his name, okay, not Tug McGraw, John McGraw.
Yep.
He says, and it was picked up by the Philadelphia Inquirer, that Connie Mack bought a white elephant, which is an expression back in the day. You bought a piece of that stuff. You got screwed. Okay, it was an expression. You bought a white elephant. So that was an expression back in the day. But the irony of the whole thing is that the A's met the Giants in the 1903 World Series.
Wow.
The Giants beat them 4-1 in the series. But I guess Connie Mack, the winningest manager of all time, I think John McGraw might have been the second winningest manager of all time. Connie Mack owned the A's and coached and managed for, 55 years. The irony of the whole thing is that Connie Mack, the A's were so up and down in their early years. You ever read the Baseball Encyclopedia? God, they would be great. The 31 team was great, and other teams were great. Home run Baker, 1911, 12. With the dead ball era. And
well, let's go 50 years ago though. Who was your favorite player? I mean, you had an unbelievable run: Joe Rudy, Sal Bando, Holtzman, Catfish Hunter, Blue Moon Odom. You had a team there that was just unbelievable. You enjoyed those years, correct?
Oh, dude, I did, man. I was in college then, and, in the late 60s, they were so good, and they won, and they never got the credit. They won the World Series. There's only one other team that won in 72, 73, and 74. They never got the credit. The only other team that's won more, 3 in a row or more, the Yankees, of course.
Yep.
But they never got the credit because they're a West Coast team with the Northeast media, blah, blah, blah. They never got the credit. But when the A's, when free agency came about, I'm in college, dude. And they started buying the A's, Catfish goes here, Blue Moon went there, etc.
Yep. Reggie.
Reggie.
I mean, let's not forget Reggie. I mean, come on.
I cried. And I'm like 24 years old, 23 years old, whatever it was, senior in college. And my girlfriend's, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And it's nothing. I'm reading that the A's are being sold after me suffering all those years. I cried. And, I didn't marry her because she couldn't understand baseball. She asked stupid questions. She asked all these stupid questions.
I'm gonna end it with that, and I hope you enjoy opening day. But you can't judge a woman by the shirt she has on or the hat or not.
Yeah, what are you trying to say, HD?
I'm trying to say you just want a bar bet. The only team to play a home game in Wrigley Field other than the Cubs in a real game.
Thanks, AJ.
Oh, I thought you were saying I asked stupid baseball questions.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, AG. Don't be a stranger. Give us a call back, HD on the line. That's great. Andy, you got to remember those Oakland A teams. I mean, come on. They were tough back in the day. Did I lose Andy again? or because yeah, I said you.
He takes big pauses.
I don't know where he goes. I just think he's a Giant fan and a Dodger fan, and but I was saying the Oakland
takes your questions in,
those,
and then he takes a beat, and then he answers them because he thinks about them.
You don't need to think about the Oakland A's.
The reason the Coliseum was not built the other way is because the setting sun would have set right in your face as a hitter.
Right.
So that's why they built it the way they built it.
What about the Oakland A's though back then? I mean, those teams were incredible.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, Burkamp and Harris, and I mean, I remember
Burkamp and Harris, Dick Green at second.
Dick Green, yep.
Ray Fosse.
Yep, remember Ray Fosse? Ray Fosse was one of the top catchers, and everybody knows the story, or if you don't, our listeners, in an All-Star game when it's supposed to be just an exhibition. Pete Rose never played the game that way and ran over Ray Fosse, and Andy, you're a catcher. It ruined his catching career, correct? I mean, he was done. Crushed him, yeah.
Crushed him.
And you're listening to the Big Eight. Call us at 727-518-0820. Thanks, HD. That was great, educational, and trivia. I don't know who the woman is that you didn't marry. That wasn't
I should have asked him.
Sounded an awful lot like me.
Who won the 1904 World Series? Because after that World Series with John McGraw's Giants and the A's, there's still a lot of so they didn't have it, basically.
Right.
Because the National League would not agree to the terms that the American League wanted.
So there was no World Series?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Maddie, you habitual Met fan, give me an update on the Masters.
All right, hang on. You got to give me a second to pull it back up. So the Masters, as of last look, had a three-way tie for first place.
Shoot.
That was the last look, and it is still that way. Nothing has changed. Still the same three guys tied at -4.
Who else is on the leaderboard? Who's 5 through 10?
Now, there's a two-way tie right now with Willett and Neiman tied for 4.
Right.
And there's actually, let's see, four-way. It's a four-way tie for tied at 4.
Yeah.
So that's where we're sitting right now. Tigers already in the clubhouse. Brooks Koepka is tied at -8.
Wait.
Tigers
wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. -8.
Yeah.
That's the leaderboard?
Oh, no, they're tied at 8 at -2.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, he's one of my picks. I like him. I think people are looking over him.
Koepka's awesome.
Yeah, I think they're looking over him.
Oh, by the way, so we were talking about this off.
Oh, yeah.
So, Robin, why are the Mets blue and orange?
I don't know, Andy. Why are the Mets blue and orange?
I don't know. You don't go, I don't know. You got to say.
Take a guess, Robin.
Take a guess, yeah.
I wouldn't even begin to know what to guess.
Well, then get a lifeline to Sully. Give it.
You have a lifeline here, and you have a Met fan on the show.
Right.
You want me to phone a friend?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to.
But he already knows the answer.
Good,
Yeah,
then you win.
All right.
Do you want to use the lifeline?
Go ahead, Matt.
Fine.
All right, the reason why the Mets are blue and orange, the blue was from the Dodgers, the orange was from the Giants. That's where they came from, the blue and orange as a representation of their past.
And that
blue
is
for the Dodgers, orange for the Giants.
100% correct, Andrew. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Dodgers left for the West Coast, and the Giants were the last team to leave New York in '58.
They thought they'd bleed the colors together and they'd have a champion.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Show, did you hear that?
I thought that was going to be like a funny punchline.
Yeah, no.
This was actually like
It's good trivia.
trivia. Yeah,
It's good
I like
trivia.
it.
Your sons
I
don't
learned
know
something. I'm going to use it.
Your sons don't know that. I'm going to tell you right now. The big bully Met fans in the house. We're going to be going. We're going to leave in 2 minutes. It's been a great day. I'm excited to watch some baseball. I haven't got to see any games and catch the highlights of the Masters. You know, everything is an effort now, Andy. I don't know if you got to have ESPN Plus. You know, the Golf Channel can't cover the Masters until it's over, and it's just amazing. It's almost impossible to find things to watch. So
we already had an account, hon. You paid double.
I paid double just to watch Tiger this morning, and it was worth it. Little personal shout out to my man Maxwell Thomas, my grandson. We're gonna have our own little tradition, buddy. And yes, girls, Miss Quinny Elizabeth and Miss Sadie Joy, you're gonna be going with your pop soon too. We're gonna be going to baseball games, and Pop won't be working on opening days. So to all our fathers and sons and mothers and sons and everybody that weighed in on that today, I don't care who you are, where you were. At one point, you picked up a glove or a ball. And this is, to me, it's a great holiday. Opening day, Major League Baseball. Andy, I can't appreciate you more, brother, for filling in for the King. I believe tomorrow we might take a day off because we're all traveling on this show. We're wishing everybody a great weekend, a great Masters weekend, a great baseball weekend. Adam, Matt, Robin, Skillsy, love you all. Thanks for all your help, and we'll be back on Monday. You're listening to The Big 8 on WWBA Sports Talk Florida. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Safe travels wherever you are.
Robin DeLory, also the sister